and her pride hurt by this mischievous joke. Miss March soothed her by promises of entire silence and great discretion for their future discretion. Yeah. The instant Lurie's step was heard, the instant Lurie's step was heard in the hall, Meg fled into the study, and Miss March received the culprit alone. Joe had not told him why he was wanted, fearing he wouldn't come, but he knew the minute he saw Miss March's face, and stood twirling his hat with a guilty air which convicted him at once. Joe was dismissed, but chose to march up and down the hall like a sentinel. Sentinel? What a word. Like a let me have it. Sentinel having some fear that the prisoner might halt. The sound of voices in the parlor roused and fell for half an hour, but what happened during that interview the girls never knew. When they were called in, Laurie was standing by their mother with such a penitent face that Joe forgave him on the spot. But forgave him. Well, okay. But did not think it wise to betray the fact. Meg received his humble apology and was much comforted by the assurance that Brooke knew nothing of the joke. I'll never tell him to my dying day. All right. Wild horses shan't drag it out of me, so you'll forgive me. Okay. And I'll do anything to show how out and out sorry I am, he added, looking very much ashamed of himself. By the way, this is my brother laughing. I'll try, but it was a very ungentlemanly thing to do. I didn't think you could be so sly and malicious, Laurie, replied Meg, trying to hide her maidenly confusion under a gravely reproachful air. Alright, this one is a bit harder. And this one too. So have this and this. Okay. It was altogether abominable. And I don't deserve to be spoken to for a month. But you will, though, won't you? And Laurie's flooded his hands together with such an imploring gesture as he spoke in his irresistibly persuasive tone that it was impossible to frown upon him, in spite of his scandalous behavior. Meg pardoned him, and Miss March's grave face relaxed in spite of her efforts to keep sober. When she heard him declare that he would atone for his sins by all sorts of penances, what word? Penances. I think it's penances, I don't know. And appease himself like a worm before the injured damsel. Okay, worm, not worm. Like a worm before the injured damsel. I don't know what I'm saying at the moment. She stood aloof, meanwhile trying to harden her heart against him, and succeeding only in priming up her face into an expression of entire disapprobation Disappropriation. What a word. Let me have it. Disappropriation. Laurie looked at her once or twice, but as she showed no sign of relenting, no sign of relenting, he felt injured and turned his back on her. Still, the others were done with him. Alright, Alright. What am I? We're done with him. What is it? Yeah, well. When he made her a low bow and walked off without a word, as soon as he had gone, she wished she had been more forgiving. And when Meg and her mother went upstairs, she felt lonely and longed for Teddy. After resisting for some time, she yielded to the impulse and, armed with a book to return, went over to the big house. Is Mr. Lawrence in? Asked Joe of a housemaid who was coming downstairs. Yes, miss, but I don't believe he is seeable just yet. Why not? Is he ill? No, miss, but he had a scene with Mr. Lorry, who is in one of his tantrums about something, which vexes the old gentleman. So I daresn't go nigh him. What is this word? Where's Lurie? Shut up in his room and he won't answer. Though I've been tapping. I don't know what's to become of the dinner, for it's ready and there's no one to eat it. I'll go and see what the matter is. I am not afraid of either of them. Up went Joe and knocked smartly at the door of Laurie's little study. Stop that, or I'll open the door and make you, called out the young gentleman in a threatening tone. Joe immediately knocked again. The door flew open and in she bounced before Laurie could recover from his surprise, seeing that he really was out of temper. Joe, who knew how to manage him, assumed a contrite, I don't know, maybe contrite, maybe contrite, don't know, contrite expression, and going artistically down upon her knees, said meekly, please forgive me for being so cross. I came to make it up and can't go away till I have. It's all right, get up and don't be a goose, Joe. Was that Galvalia? What is this one? Unbelievable. Reply to her petition. All right. Leah, I don't know. Thank you, I will. Could I ask what's the matter? You don't look exactly easy in your mind. I've been shaking, and I won't bear it, growled Laurie indignantly. Yeah? Who did it? Demanded Joe. Grandfather. If it had been anyone else, I'd have. And the injured youth finished his sentence by an energetic gesture of the right arm. That's nothing. I often shake you, and you don't mind, said Joe. All right. Alrighty, what am I? Let's see, where am I? Finished his sentence by an energetic gesture of the right arm. That's nothing. I often shake you, and you don't mind, said Joe soothingly. Boo. You're a girl, and it's fun. But I'll allow no man to shake me. I don't think anyone would care to try it. If you looked as much like a thunder cloud. Well, it's like hell on earth. I swear, oh my God. You're a girl and it's fun, but I'll allow no man to shake me. I don't think anyone would care to try it. If you looked as much like a thundercloud now, why were you treated so? Just because I wouldn't say what your mother wanted me for, I'd promised not to tell. And of course, I wasn't going to break my word. Couldn't you satisfy your grandpa in any other way? No, he would have the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I have told my part of the scrape if I could without bringing my Meg in, as I couldn't. I held my tongue and bore the scolding till the old gentleman collared me. Then I got angry, all right, and bottled for fear I should forget myself. It wasn't nice, but he is sorry, I know. So go down and make up. I'll help you. Hanged if I do. I'm not going to be lectured and bummeled by everyone just for a bit of a fright. I was sorry about Meg and begged pardon like a man, but I won't do it again when I wasn't in the wrong. All right? He didn't know that. He ought to trust me and not act as if I was a baby. It is no use, Joe. He's got to learn that I'm able to take care of myself and don't need anyone's apron strings to hold on by. What pepper pots you are, sighed Joe. How do you mean to settle this there? Well, he ought to beg pardon and believe me when I say I can't tell him what the fuss is about. Bless you, he won't do that. I won't go down till he does. Now, Teddy, be sensible. Let it pass, and I'll explain what I can. You can't stay here, so what's the use of being melodramatic? I don't intend to stay here long anyway. I'll slip off and take a journey somewhere, and when Grandpa misses me, he'll come around fast enough, I dare say. But you ought not to go and worry him. Don't preach. I'll go to Washington and see Brooke. It is cheerful there, and I'll enjoy myself after.